See, I told you we were going to have multiple conversations about the Montreal Canadiens and their 5th overall pick in the 2023 draft. We had made a video the day the pick was made. We talked about the pick itself. We reacted to it live on stream. That was the video. The day after, we made a video talking about nothing, because that was day 2 of the draft and there were multiple videos about different things regarding the Canadiens. But day 3, or not necessarily day 3, there wasn't a day 3 of the draft, but the 3rd day after the pick had been made, we made a video talking about Kent Hughes and how he had been talking about David Reinbacher, how I had a problem with the way he was selling this player to the fans. Yesterday, we made a video talking about the backlash, how there was so many unfortunate comments made and tossed David Reinbacher's way that Kent Hughes had to go out there and address himself in the media. I said it, man, there are way too many topics we could have regarding this 5th overall pick that in order for us to go deep and discuss every single available topic, it would probably take hours, and I don't think I'm hyperbolizing when I say that. This is why, in today's video, we're going over another idea that revolved around that 5th overall pick and really gained steam right before the pick was actually made. We didn't make any videos about this beforehand because, you know, the thought process is, if there's a new rumor that pops up about a thing an hour or 2 hours or a day before the draft pick is actually used up and made, it's not really worth it to go out there and make the video, because if it's a rumor, it could either come true or it could not come true. And if it doesn't come true, we could just go out there and say, alright, well, it didn't happen. Lego, you got it wrong. But the best way to go out there and talk about these things is after the fact, with hindsight, when we have a finalized version of what happened at our fingertips. We all know the Montreal Canadiens had the 5th overall pick, and they chose David Reinbacher. But what if I told you we got some insight as to one of the trade ideas, or trade offers, I guess you could say, that Kent Hughes and his team apparently rejected because they thought Reinbacher was just that gosh darn valuable, and they wanted to keep him for themselves. Take a look at this article from June 28th, 2023. So a few days ago, this was, when was this? That would have been Wednesday, right? Yeah, so day of the draft. LeBron rumblings. Why the NHL's draft no trade day 1 could be the calm before the storm. I'll leave a link in the description if you want to go ahead and read this article, but you know the protocol here. We're not going to screenshot pieces of this piece because it is The Athletic. But essentially, if you go over to Habs Link's Twitter account, Pierre LeBrun confirms that the Nashville Predators offered the Canadiens top goalie prospect Yaroslav Askarov as part of a package to move up to the 5th overall pick. Now, Askarov plus some stuff for 5th overall, that's a trade idea. That's pretty nuts if I do say so myself. This was just what Pierre LeBrun went out there and said. However, we had ourselves another tweet made by Michael Gallagher. This was on the day of the draft as well, but Michael Gallagher, who does stuff for Nashville Hockey Now, went out there and tweeted this, which has a lot more depth to the Yaroslav Askarov 5th overall conversation. From those I've talked to and trust, the consensus seems to be that the Nashville Predators' offer of the 15th overall pick, the 24th overall pick, and Yaroslav Askarov may not be enough to pry the 5th overall pick away from Montreal. And so, in a way, with these rumors popping up, how Askarov was rumored to being tossed over the Habs' way, maybe with the 15th overall pick, maybe with the 24th overall pick. This is just the trade package that Michael Gallagher is going out there and saying was circulating around there. Would it not be fair to conclude that based off the information we have, the Montreal Canadiens might have just straight up rejected this offer? And my question to you is, based off of who was available in the 2023 NHL Draft at picks number 15 and 24, is this a trade that you instead would have done? Of course, we are operating on the not confirmed assumption that this was indeed the package, but Mike Gallagher's tweet, his insider info, plus Pierre LeBrun confirming that Askarov was thrown into a Montreal trade conversation, I think this is good enough to go out there and form our argument that says that Kent Hughes and his team might have just straight up rejected this. So, what are your thoughts on 15, 24, and Askarov? How do these assets compare to David Reinbacher? And Is this something you could have gotten behind had Kent Hughes said yes? Firstly, let's go over the goaltending prospect here. Yaroslav Askarov was the 11th overall pick back in the 2020 NHL Draft. 6'4", 179-pound right-handed catching goaltender. He's 21 years old at the moment. This past season, he had played in the AHL, where as a rookie, he had a .911 save percentage in 48 games played. He's 21 years old, folks. The previous season, he played in the KHL where he had a .913 save percentage. He had spent some time in the KHL and the MHL over the past few years. He had a rough World Junior stint the first time around, but his second time was a lot better than that. And realistically, Askarov is one of, if not the absolute best goaltending prospects in the NHL right now. He is the closest we have to the next Andrei Vasilevsky. And when it comes to the hype train, there really is no slowing down what it is Askarov was supposed to be able to become. Ever since that 2020 draft, he was seen as a stud, potentially franchise-altering goaltender. And when you consider the fact that the Montreal Canadiens drafted a bunch of goalies in the 2023 draft, I think it's safe to say they're in a position where young goalies that are good are somewhat of a need, in their opinion. They're valued. And so Askarov kind of aligns with that. If you trade for Askarov, do the Montreal Canadiens draft as many goaltenders as they did in 2023? Who really knows? Then you talk about those two picks. The 15th overall pick was Nashville's, and they selected Matthew Wood with that pick. Instead of taking Matthew Wood, let's say the Montreal Canadiens take 15th overall. If they were so hell-bent on getting a right-handed defenseman, as they had done with Reinbacher, then Axel Sandin Pellikka would have been available right there. Now, there's a huge difference in stylistic play from Sandin Pellikka to Reinbacher, and we've made a few videos talking about the differences there. But if you go over to that the 24th overall pick, the Nashville Predators used it to select Tanner Molendyk, defenseman prospect out of the WHL. And if the Canadiens did not want to go out there and go the Molendyk route, there were a few players that actually had really nice production rates as well. You got Quentin Musty over there, Gavin Brindley was available, so was Andrew Crystal, and so if the Montreal Canadiens accepted this trade, and let's assume it goes Reinbacher, 5th overall, in exchange for Yaroslav Askarov, a right-handed defenseman replacement in Axel Sandin Pellikka, and another prospect that probably has value, let's say Andrew Crystal, just to throw out a name there. Is this package more valuable than David Reinbacher by himself? That is the ultimate question that this video poses, and it's one that's going to start some controversy in the comments because I know a lot of y'all would say, hey, wait a minute, if Reinbacher is a top right-handed D, why not just settle for Sandin Pellikka, who also could be a top 4 right-handed D, albeit in a more offensively minded capacity? Add on to that the goaltending prospect, who could be a franchise-altering guy, and then another prospect that could be a mid-to-top 6 forward if everything goes right. Why would Kent Hughes value David Reinbacher so highly that he would say no to all that stuff? And this is where you try to fill in the blanks, because if you say David Reinbacher is worth it, then I'll say, okay, we just gotta wait a few years to see if that really is the case. Right now, I think it's difficult to evaluate any prospect as being worth more than two pretty alright prospects and Yaroslav Askarov combined, but that's what videos like these exist for, right? This exists because in a few years' time, when David Reinbacher is either out of the NHL because he's not good, or he's dominating in a top 2 role, we can revisit this video and say, ha, look at that trade proposal. What a bad proposal. Askarov, X and Y for Reinbacher? Man, Reinbacher is so darn good, he is worth that times 2. Or the opposite comes true, and it's like, wow, like I'd rather have the 24th overall guy Molendyk instead of Reinbacher straight up. That's a crazy trade idea. So you can let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. What are your opinions about this idea that Kent Hughes maybe rejected this beefy trade package from the Nashville Predators in order to select Reinbacher? Do you think this was the right move? Do you think it wasn't? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.